They're going to kill him tomorrow, aren't they? The room went silent. 50 Navy SEALs stared at the 12-year-old girl standing alone in the doorway. She wore a hoodie 3 sizes too big, her dead father's hoodie. She clutched a manila envelope against her chest like a shield. And when she said the name Titan, the most dangerous dog in the building, the one scheduled for euthanasia at dawn, lifted his head for the first time in 6 months. He recognized something. The scent, the voice, the ghost of the man he'd watched die. Before we continue, tell us where you're watching from in the comments below. And if this story moves you, please subscribe and follow this journey until the very end. Let's see how far this story travels together. Every conversation stopped the moment she walked in. Lily Carter stood in the doorway of the converted hangar at Naval Amphibious Base Coronado. And for 3 full seconds, nobody moved. Nobody breathed. The men in that room had survived ambushes, firefights, and interrogations. They'd stared down death in a dozen countries, but none of them knew what to do with a 12-year-old girl wearing an oversized Navy hoodie and carrying a manila envelope like it contained the secrets of the universe. Chief Petty Officer Jack Reeves was the first to react. He stepped forward, his hand raised in a gesture that was part question, part warning. "Hey there, sweetheart, you lost?" Lily's voice came out steady, clear, older than it should have been. "I'm here for the auction." A ripple of confusion moved through the crowd. Someone near the back chuckled nervously. Another man whispered something about base security going soft. Reeves crouched down to her eye level. His tone shifted to something gentler, the voice he used with his own daughters. "Listen, this is a restricted event. Navy personnel only." "How'd you even get past the gate?" Lily reached inside the hoodie and pulled out a lanyard. A laminated ID badge dangled from it. The photo showed a man in his late 30s, square jaw, clear eyes, the unmistakable bearing of someone who'd spent his life in service. The name read Carter Thomas J. Master Chief Petty Officer. Reeves's expression changed. His jaw tightened. He looked at the badge, then at the girl, then back at the badge. "Lily Carter," she nodded. "You're Tom Carter's daughter?" "Yes, sir." The room went quiet again, but this time it was different. This time, recognition flickered across faces. Men exchanged glances that communicated volumes without words. Someone near the back said, "Oh, Christ." Chief Sam Torres pushed through the crowd. Everyone called him Doc, the team medic who'd served with Tom Carter for 15 years. Gray threaded through his hair now. Scars covered his knuckles. His eyes locked onto Lily with something that looked like recognition and pain mixed together. "Lily." His voice was barely above a whisper. "What are you doing here, sweetheart?" "I came for Titan." The name hit the room like a grenade. Men shifted their weight. Someone swore under their breath. In the far corner of the hangar, past the rows of adoptable dogs, was a section cordoned off with red tape. A single kennel sat isolated from all the others. Inside, a massive German shepherd lay with his head on his paws, eyes open but seeing nothing. His coat was dark sable, his ears scarred, his body mapped with the evidence of a career most humans couldn't survive. K9 Titan, Master Chief Tom Carter's partner for 8 years, 53 combat deployments, 3 Purple Hearts awarded to a dog. Retired 6 months ago after Carter died in what the official report called a training incident. Doc stepped closer to Lily. His voice dropped even lower. "Honey, Titan's not up for auction. He's in the restricted section, I know." Lily's chin lifted slightly. "That's why I'm here." "Lily, they're going to kill him, aren't they?" The question hung in the air. Doc's face tightened. He didn't answer, which was answer enough. "That's what I thought." Lily's grip on the envelope tightened. "I'm not going to let that happen." A voice cut through from the back of the room, sharp, commanding, the kind of voice that expected immediate obedience. "Chief Torres, what exactly is going on here?" The crowd parted like water before a ship's bow. Commander Marcus Webb strode forward, uniform crisp, posture parade ground perfect. He was younger than most of the men in the room, mid-40s, career built more on politics than field work. He carried a tablet and wore the expression of a man who dealt in regulations, not emotions. Sir, Doc straightened slightly. "This is Lily Carter, Master Chief Carter's daughter." Webb's eyes flicked to Lily, then to the envelope, then back to her face. His expression didn't change. Miss Carter, I'm very sorry for your loss, but this is a restricted event. You need to leave immediately. I'm here to claim Titan. Clears throat, excuse me. Under next of kin reassignment protocol, I'm claiming my father's dog. Webb blinked. Several of the SEALs shifted their weight, suddenly more interested. There's no such protocol. Yes, there is. Lily's voice didn't waver. Section 12, subsection 4 of the Military Working Dog Act. If a handler is killed in the line of duty and the dog is retired within 6 months, immediate family has first right of claim before public reassignment or termination. Webb's face re-ends slightly. That applies to dogs cleared for adoption. Titan has been flagged as reactive and unplaceable. He's scheduled for humane containment. You mean you're going to kill him because he's inconvenient? The room went absolutely silent. Several operators looked at their boots. Others stared at Webb with expressions that could have frozen water. That's not Webb started. He's not reactive. Lily's voice cut through his. He's grieving. There's a difference. Miss Carter. And you won't let anyone near him because you know what he'll do if the right person asks the right questions. Webb's jaw clenched. I don't know what you think you're implying. I'm not implying anything. Lily took a step forward, small, deliberate. The movement of someone who'd practiced being brave, even when they were terrified. I'm stating facts. What facts? Lily's voice cracked slightly, the first sign of the emotion she'd been holding back. I know my father didn't die in a training accident. The temperature in the room dropped 20 degrees. I know he filed a whistleblower complaint. 2 days before he died, I know Titan was with him when it happened. And I know you were the officer who signed off on the explosives protocol my father said was unsafe. Nobody moved. Webb's face went carefully blank. The expression of a man who'd spent years learning to hide reactions, but his eyes betrayed him. Something flickered there, fear maybe, or guilt. Those are serious accusations, Miss Carter. Do you have any evidence? Lily held up the manila envelope. Everything's in here. My dad gave it to me the morning he died. He told me if anything ever happened to him, I should bring it here and get Titan. Webb reached for the envelope. Let me see that. Doc's hand shot out, blocking him. Sir, his voice was quiet but firm. With respect, if that's evidence of wrongdoing, it should go through proper channels, not disappear into your office. Webb's eyes narrowed. Are you questioning my integrity, Chief? I'm protecting a fallen SEAL's final wishes. The standoff lasted 5 seconds. Then Reeves stepped up beside Doc, arms crossed, face hard. Then another SEAL, then another. Within 30 seconds, 10 men had formed a loose wall between Webb and Lily. None of them spoke. None of them had to. Webb looked around the room, calculating, weighing options. Finally, he smiled. The cold smile of a man who'd found an angle. Fine. You want Titan? Prove he's safe. What do you mean? We'll do a controlled test. If he responds to you appropriately, if he shows no aggression, no instability, then we can discuss reassignment. Webb's smile widened. But if he shows any sign of the behavior that got him flagged in the first place, he's done. Understood? Lily's face palled slightly, but her voice stayed steady. Understood. Good. Webb gestured toward the back of the hangar. Let's see what your father's dog is really made of. They walked to the restricted section in a procession that felt more like a trial than a test. 50 men followed, forming a semicircle around the cordoned area. The red tape came down. Lily approached the kennel alone. Titan hadn't moved. His eyes were open but unfocused, staring at something no one else could see. The paperwork taped to his cage read, unresponsive to commands, reactive to male handlers. Recommendation, humane euthanasia. Lily knelt in front of the cage. She didn't say anything at first. She just sat there wearing her father's hoodie, holding his envelope, looking at his dog. Doc moved closer, watching carefully. Reeves stood beside him, arms still crossed. She's got maybe 60 seconds before Webb calls this, Reeves murmured. Give her time. He's not going to give her time. Lily reached out and touched the cage wire. Her fingers were trembling. Hey, boy, she whispered. Hey, Titan, it's me, it's Lily. Nothing, the dog didn't move. I know you're tired. I know you miss him. I miss him, too. Her voice cracked every single day. I wake up and I forget for just a second that he's gone. And then I remember, and it's like losing him all over again. Still nothing. Webb checked his watch ostentatiously. Miss Carter, I don't think Titan. Lily's voice suddenly changed. Stronger, clearer, the same tone her father had used. Heel. The dog's ear twitched. One ear just a fraction of an inch, but it moved. Tighten. Louder now, commanding. Heel slowly. So slowly it almost seemed impossible. Tighten lifted his head, his eyes focused. For the first time in 6 months, he actually saw what was in front of him. Not a kennel, not a cage, a girl wearing a hoodie that smelled like something he'd lost, speaking with a voice that carried echoes of someone he'd loved. Tighten stood. The movement was mechanical at first, rusty, like a machine powering up after years of shutdown. But then something shifted. His ears came forward, his tail uncurled from between his legs. He walked to the front of the cage and sat at perfect attention. Someone in the crowd whispered, "Holy shit." Doc's face broke into something that might have been a smile. She's got him. She's actually got him. Webb's expression had gone carefully neutral again, but a muscle twitched in his jaw. That doesn't prove anything. He sat down. Any dog can sit. Then let's open the cage, Doc said. Absolutely not. He's flagged as dangerous. He's flagged as unresponsive to commands. He just responded to a command. Doc turned to face Webb directly. Open the cage, Commander, unless you're afraid of what happens next. The challenge hung in the air. Webb looked at the crowd, at the men who'd served with Tom Carter, at the girl who carried his evidence, at the dog who was watching him with eyes that seemed to see too much. Fine, his voice was tight. Open it. But if that animal shows any aggression, any at all, he's done, and so is the charade. Lily's hands shook as she worked the latch. The metal was cold. Her fingers fumbled once, twice. Then the cage door swung open. Tighten stepped out. His movements were controlled, professional. Even after 6 months of isolation, even after everything he'd lost, the training was still there. The discipline that had been drilled into him over 8 years of service. He walked directly to Lily, stopped at her left side, sat with his shoulder aligned to her knee. Perfect heel position. Textbook military precision. Good boy, Lily whispered. Her voice broke completely. Tears spilled down her cheeks. Good boy, Tighten. Good boy. The dog leaned into her just slightly. The first voluntary contact he'd made with any human being since the day Tom Carter died. Doc crouched down, studying the dog's body language. The relaxed ears, the steady breathing, the tail that was actually wagging just once, just barely, but wagging. He's not aggressive, Doc said quietly. He's locked on. Locked on to what? Reeves asked. A pattern. Doc stood and turned to face the crowd. Dogs like Tighten, they're trained to detect threats and alert. When their handler dies, especially in an explosion, they don't understand death the way we do. They just know the threat's still out there and their partner can't respond anymore. So what does that mean? It means he's been waiting, Doc's voice hardened. Waiting for someone to address the threat he identified 6 months ago, the threat that killed his handler. Webb's face had gone pale. That's speculation. You can't know what a dog, then you won't mind participating in a test. Doc turned back to the crowd, sent identification. If Tighten's reactive to specific individuals, it's because he's pattern matching them to the incident. He's a witness, Commander. Probably the only witness who knows exactly what happened the day Tom Carter died. The silence that followed was deafening. Reeves stepped forward. I'll go first. Establish a baseline. He walked past Tighten slowly. The dog tracked him with his eyes but didn't move, didn't react. Reeves stopped, turned, approached from another angle. Nothing. Clean, Doc announced. He gestured to another SEAL. Davis, you're up. 3 more men walked past Tighten. Each time the dog remained calm, alert, but not aggressive. 4 clean readings, Doc said. Commander, your turn. This is ridiculous. You said prove he's safe, Lily said quietly. This proves it, unless you're afraid. Webb's jaw worked. He looked around the room at the faces watching him, at Clear's throat, the judgment in their eyes. Finally, he stepped forward. Tighten's entire body went rigid, his ears pinned back against his skull. A low rumble built in his chest. Not a bark, but something deeper. Older, the sound of a predator identifying prey. Sit, Lily commanded. Tighten sat, but his eyes never left Webb. His muscles were coiled springs. Every fiber of his being was focused on the man in front of him with an intensity that was almost terrifying. Doc's voice was barely above a whisper. He knows you, Commander. He doesn't know anything. Webb's voice had lost its commanding edge. He's a traumatized animal reacting to stress. Then why doesn't he react to anyone else? Webb had no answer. Lily stood slowly, still holding the envelope, still wearing her father's hoodie, but something had changed in her posture. She wasn't a little girl anymore. She was a witness, a prosecutor, an avenger. "You want to know what's in here, Commander?" Webb said nothing. "My father's complaint about the SEC training protocols. He said the detonation sequences were being rushed. He said corners were being cut to meet deadlines. He said someone was going to get killed." She took a step toward him. Titan moved with her, maintaining perfect heel position. "He filed that complaint with your office. You told him to stand down. You said he was being paranoid. You said the protocols were fine." Another step. "2 days later, during a training exercise you personally authorized, my father was killed in an explosion that shouldn't have happened." Webb's face was the color of ash. "You wrote the report that called it equipment failure. You signed off on the investigation that cleared everyone of wrongdoing. You made sure no one asked the questions that needed to be asked." Lily held up the envelope, "But my dad knew. He knew someone would try to cover it up, so he gave me this. Every email you sent telling him to drop it. Every override form with your signature. Every regulation you broke to meet your timeline." She stopped 3FT from Webb. Titan sat at her side, still growling softly. "My father trusted the system. He trusted his chain of command. He trusted you." Her voice broke. "And you let him die. You let him die, and then you blame the equipment so no one would know it was your fault. You can't prove any of this. I don't have to prove it." Lily's eyes were wet, but her voice was steady. Titan already did. She turned to Doc and held out the envelope. "My dad said to give this to someone who would do the right thing, someone who wouldn't let it get buried." Doc took the envelope slowly. He opened it, scanned the contents. His face went hard as stone. He handed several pages to Reeves. The Big Seal read them. His expression transformed into something dangerous. "Commander," Doc said quietly, "I think you should step away from the dog." Webb looked around the room one final time at the 50 men who'd served with Tom Carter, at the evidence in Doc's hands, at the dog who'd identified him as a threat. He turned and walked out without another word. The hangar stayed silent for a long moment. Then Reeves cleared his throat. "Well, guess that settles the auction." "There's still protocol," someone started to say. "Screw protocol." Doc looked at Lily. "Titan's yours. Next of kin reassignment, witness protection, or whatever the hell legal framework makes it stick. I'll supervise as his handler of record until you're 18. He looked around the room. Anyone got a problem with that? No one did. Lily dropped to her knees and wrapped her arms around Titan. The dog, the warrior, the veteran, the witness leaned into her embrace and finally allowed himself to relax. "Good boy," she whispered into his fur. "We did it, boy. We found the truth." Titan's tail wagged just once, but it was enough. Dot crouched beside them, his hand resting briefly on Lily's shoulder. "Your dad would be proud, kiddo. You finished what he started. He told me to take care of Titan. He said Titan would take care of me. He was right about both." Lily looked up at the men surrounding her. Warriors, every one of them, men who'd spent their lives fighting for things that mattered. "Thank you," she said, "for believing me." Reeby smiled. "Thank you. You just reminded us what we're supposed to stand for." As Lily walked toward the exit, Titan moving in perfect formation beside her. The men in the room did something unusual. One by one, they stood at attention. Not for a commanding officer, not for a dignitary, for a 12-year-old girl and a dog who had done what most of them spent their careers trying to do. Found the truth and refused to let it stay buried. The salute lasted until Lily and Titan disappeared through the hangar door. Then Doc turned to face the men who remained, and his expression told them everything they needed to know. "We've got a problem." Reeves stepped forward. "Webb's not going to let this go." "No, he's not." Doc held up the manila envelope. "This is enough to end his career. Maybe put him in prison. A man like that doesn't go quietly. So what do we do? First, we secure the evidence, make copies, get it to people who can't be pressured." Doc pulled out his phone. "I know a JAG officer who owes me. Clean record. No connection to Webb's network. And the girl," Doc's face darkened. "That's the part that worries me. She just walked into a room full of warriors and accused a commander of negligent homicide. Webb knows her name, knows where she lives, knows she's the only witness who can tie everything together. She's 12 years old. You think that matters to a man who let his own operator die to cover up his mistakes? The question hung in the air like smoke. Reeves was already moving toward the door. I'll catch up with her, make sure she gets home safe, take Davis with you and Reeves. Yeah, don't let her out of your sight. Outside, the California sun had dipped below the horizon. The base was quieting down for the evening, but Lily was walking fast. Titan matching her pace stride for stride. Reeves jogged to catch up. Hey, Lily, hold up, she turned. Her face was pale, the adrenaline crash hitting hard. Chief Reeves, call me Jack. He fell into step beside her. Where are you headed? Bus stop. There's a 7:15 that goes near my house. You came here alone on a bus. My mom doesn't know I'm here. Reeves stopped walking. What? She thinks I'm at my friend Sarah's house. Lily's voice was matter-of-fact. If I told her what I was planning, she would have tried to stop me because it's dangerous, because she's scared. Lily looked up at him with eyes that were far too old for her face. She's been scared since my dad died. Scared of the Navy, scared of asking questions, scared that if she pushes too hard, something bad will happen to us. Can you blame her? No, but I can't be like her. Lily's chin lifted. My dad didn't raise me to be scared. He raised me to do what's right, even when it's hard. Reeves felt something twist in his chest. He'd known Tom Carter for 15 years, served beside him in places he couldn't name, doing things he'd never talk about. And here was his daughter carrying on his mission with the same stubborn courage that had made Tom one of the best operators Reeves had ever known. I'm giving you a ride home. You don't have to. I'm not asking. Reeves looked down at Titan. The dog was watching him with calm, assessing eyes. Your dad saved my life twice. The least I can do is make sure his daughter gets home safe. They walked to Reeves's truck in silence. Davis met them halfway, falling into position without being asked. We've got company, Davis said quietly. Reeves didn't turn around. Where? Black sedan parked near the east gate. Been there since before the auction started. 2 men inside, Webb's people or worse. Lily's face went pale. What does that mean? It means Commander Webb has friends, Reeves said. Powerful friends who don't want the contents of that envelope seen the light of day. But Doc has it now. It's safe. Nothing's safe until it's in the hands of people who can actually do something with it. Reeves opened the truck door. Get in, both of you. Titan jumped into the back seat without hesitation. Lily climbed in after him, her hands shaking slightly. As Reeves pulled out of the parking lot, he watched the black sedan in his rear view mirror. It didn't follow immediately. That was almost worse. Where do you live? Vista Heights, 1847 Maple Drive. That's 40 minutes from here. I know. Reeves shook his head. You rode a bus for 40 minutes to walk into a restricted military auction and accuse a commander of murder. I did what I had to do. Yeah. Reeves glanced at her in the mirror. You really are Tom's daughter. They drove in silence for a few minutes. Then Lily spoke. Chief Jack, can I ask you something? Shoot. Were you there the day my dad died? Reeves's hands tightened on the steering wheel. No, I was stateside recovery leave after a mission went sideways. He paused. I didn't find out until 3 days later. By then the investigation was already closed. That was fast. Too fast. That's what Doc said at the time, but nobody wanted to listen. Why not? Because Webb had already written the narrative. Equipment failure, tragic accident, no one at fault. Reeves's jaw clenched. By the time anyone thought to question it, all the physical evidence had been cleaned snorts up. The training site was cleared. Everything was back to normal, except for Titan. Clears throat except for Titan. Reeves nodded. That dog hasn't been normal since the day your dad died. Everyone assumed it was grief, trauma. Nobody thought to ask what he might have witnessed. My dad did. Lily's voice was quiet. In the letter he left me. He said if anything happened, Titan would know. He said dogs don't lie, they can't. Smart man, your dad. He was the smartest man I ever knew. They reached the freeway. Reeves checked his mirrors again. No sign of the black sedan. Jack, yeah. What's going to happen now with the evidence? I mean, Doc's going to get it to the right people. JAG, NCIS, maybe congressional oversight if the Navy tries to bury it. And Commander Webb, if there's any justice, he'll spend the rest of his life in Leavenworth. And if there's not, Reeves didn't answer right away. Then we make our own justice. 20 minutes later, Reeves's phone rang. Doc's number. Talk to me. Doc's voice was tight. We have a problem, a big one. What happened? Webb made a call. I don't know who to, but whoever it was, they moved fast. The evidence has been flagged as classified. National security implications. That's bull. I know it's bull, but it doesn't matter. The JAG officer I contacted just got pulled off the case. She's being reassigned to Alaska effective immediately. Alaska, that's what happens when you ask the wrong questions about the wrong people. Doc's voice hardened. Webb's not working alone, Jack. Someone above him is pulling strings. Someone with enough juice to make evidence disappear and reassign military lawyers in a matter of hours. Who? I don't know yet, but I'm going to find out. What about Lily? She's the only other person who knows what's in that envelope. Silence on the line. Doc, get her somewhere safe. Somewhere they can't find her. Define safe. I don't know, just keep her moving. Keep her hidden until I can figure out who we're really dealing with. Copy that. Reeves hung up and immediately changed lanes, taking an exit that wasn't on the route to Vista Heights. What's happening? Lily's voice was sharp with fear. Change of plans. Why? What did Doc say? Someone's trying to bury the evidence. The JAG officer who was going to help just got transferred to the other side of the country. Lily's face went white. They can do that. They can do whatever they want if they have enough power. Reeves checked his mirrors again, still clear. Right now, the evidence in Doc's hands is being labeled classified. That means no one can look at it without security clearance, and anyone who tries is going to find themselves facing obstruction charges. But it's proof that Commander Webb doesn't matter. Welcome to the world of military politics, kid. The truth only matters if the right people want it to matter. Titan whined softly in the back seat. The dog could sense Lily's fear, could feel the tension radiating through the vehicle. So, what do we do? Reeves was silent for a long moment. Your dad gave you that envelope for a reason. He knew this might happen. He knew Webb might try to cover it up. He glanced at her in the mirror. Did he tell you anything else? Any backup plan? Lily thought hard, then her eyes widened. The cloud, what? My dad was paranoid about losing important files. He had a cloud backup system, encrypted, password protected. He told me once that everything important was stored there. Everything. Do you know the password? It's my birthday and Titan's service number, and she trailed off. And the date my parents got married. Can you access it? I'd need a computer or a phone with good internet. Reeves pulled out his phone and handed it back to her. Use mine, Militarira encryption, harder to trace. Lily took the phone with trembling fingers. She opened the browser, navigated to a cloud storage site, and began entering information. It's asking for verification. What kind? Two-factor. It sent a code to my dad's old phone. Where's the phone? My mom has it. She keeps it in her nightstand. She hasn't been able to throw it away. Reeves made a decision. We're going to your house. But you said I said we need to keep you safe, but we also need to get that verification code before whoever's coming for us figures out where to look. He checked his mirrors one more time. We go in fast. Get the phone, get out. You have 5 minutes. And if someone's already there, Reeves's jaw tightened. Then they'll wish they weren't. The house on Maple Drive looked quiet when they arrived. No black sedans, no suspicious vehicles, just a normal suburban home with a basketball hoop in the driveway and an American flag hanging by the door. But Titan was growling softly. Something's wrong, Lily whispered. Stay in the truck. Reeves drew his sidearm. Davis with me. No. Lily grabbed his arm. That's my mom in there. I'm not staying behind. Lily, she's my mother. Reeves looked at the house, at the dog, at the 12-year-old girl who'd already shown more courage than most adults he knew. Stay behind me. If anything happens, you run. You take Titan and you don't look back. Understood? Lily nodded. They approached the house quietly. Reeves signaled to Davis, who moved around to cover the back. The front door was unlocked. That was wrong. Lily's mother was military. She wouldn't leave a door unlocked. Reeves pushed it open slowly. The living room was empty. Quiet, nothing obviously disturbed. Mom, Lily called out, no answer. Mom, a sound from the back of the house, a door opening. Sarah Carter appeared in the hallway. She was 50, graying at the temples with the tired eyes of a woman who'd spent 6 months drowning in grief. When she saw Lily, her face cycled through confusion, relief, and terror in rapid succession. "Lily, what are you?" Her eyes found Reeves, the gun in his hand. "Who are you? What's happening?" "Mom, it's okay. He's a friend of Dad's, a friend of Sarah's." Voice rose. "You told me you were at Sarah's house. You lied to me. I know, I'm sorry, but I had to. You had to what? Disappear? Scare me half to death." Sarah was shaking now. "Do you have any idea what I've been going through? The phone calls, the men who came to the door." Reeves went cold. "What men?" Sarah's eyes snapped to him. "Two of them an hour ago. They said they were from the Navy. They said Lily had taken something that didn't belong to her, something classified." "What did you tell them?" "Nothing. I didn't know what they were talking about." Sarah's voice cracked. "But they said they'd be back. They said if I didn't cooperate, there would be consequences." Lily's face had gone pale. "Mom, I'm sorry. I didn't think they'd come here. You didn't think?" Sarah's anger collapsed into fear. "Lily, what have you done?" I got Titan back. Sarah stared at her daughter, at the dog standing calmly at her side, at the animal who'd been her husband's partner for 8 years. Titan, her voice was barely a whisper. "But they said he was dangerous. They said he had to be put down." "I know. That's why I went." Lily moved toward her mother slowly. "They were going to kill him, Mom, just like they killed Dad, and I couldn't let that happen." "Lily, your father died in an accident." "No, he didn't." The words hung in the air between them. "Lily, Dad left me an envelope the morning he died. He said if anything ever happened to him, I should take it to the base and get Titan." Lily's voice trembled but didn't break. "He knew, Mom. He knew someone was going to kill him, and he made sure the evidence would survive." Sarah's face crumpled. That can't be." Commander Webb signed off on unsafe protocols. Dad reported it. 2 days later, Dad was dead, and Webb was writing the report that called it an accident. Lily took her mother's hands. "It's all in the files. Every email, every override form, everything." "Where are these files?" "Dad's cloud backup, but I need his phone to access them." "The verification code goes there." Sarah's eyes widened. She looked at Reeves, at her daughter, at the dog who was watching her with eyes that seemed to hold secrets. "His phone is in my nightstand." "I know, Mom. Can I get it?" Sarah didn't answer for a long moment. Then slowly she nodded. Lily ran down the hallway. Titan followed, staying close. Sarah looked at Reeves. "Is it true? Was my husband murdered?" "Ma'am, I don't know all the details yet, but I know your daughter walked into a room full of Navy SEALs today and accused a commander of negligent homicide. And I know that commander left without saying a word. He met her eyes. Your daughter is brave, Mrs. Carter. Braver than most people I've served with. And right now she needs protection. They both do. Who's coming after her? I don't know yet, but whoever it is, they have enough power to make evidence disappear and reassign military lawyers overnight." Reeves's voice hardened. "They're scared, Mrs. Carter. Your daughter just exposed something they've spent 6 months trying to bury. That makes her dangerous to them. She's 12 years old, I know." Lily reappeared with a phone in her hand. She was already typing. "I've got the code, just need to." She tapped the screen. "Got it." "I'm in. What's there?" Lily scrolled through folders. Her face changed from concentration to shock to horror. "Everything. It's all here. Emails, memos, audio recordings." She looked up at Reeves with wide eyes. He recorded his conversations with Webb, all of them, audio recordings. My dad was wearing a wire. He must have known they'd try to deny everything. Lily's hands were shaking. "There's one dated the day before he died. Webb is telling him to drop the investigation, telling him the protocols are fine, telling him to stop being paranoid." "Can you play it?" Lily tapped the screen. Webb's voice filled the room, tiny but clear. "Tom, I'm telling you for the last time, let this go. The protocols are fine. You're making waves where there don't need to be any." Tom Carter's voice responded steady and firm. "Sir, with respect, those detonation sequences are not safe. The timing windows are too tight. Someone's going to get killed. That's not your call to make. Then whose call is it? Because I'm the one who's going to be on that training field. I'm the one whose team is at risk." A pause. Then Webb's voice colder now. "Master Chief, let me be very clear. If you pursue this, there will be consequences. Your career, your family, everything you've built, I can make it all go away." "Is that a threat, Commander?" "It's a promise." The recording ended. The room was silent. Sarah Carter had tears streaming down her face. Lily was pale as death. Even Titan had gone still, as if he too recognized the voices from that day. Reeves spoke first. "That's enough to convict him. If we can get it to the right people," Lily said, "we will." Reeves pulled out his phone. "Doc needs to hear this, and we need to make copies, as many as possible. Send them to everyone we trust. And what about us?" Sarah's voice was small. "What happens to my daughter?" Reeves looked at Lily at the phone in her hands, at the dog standing guard beside her. "Your daughter just did something incredible, Mrs. Carter. She found the truth when everyone else wanted it buried. Now we need to make sure that truth sees the light of day." He met her eyes. "I'm going to protect her, I promise you that, but you need to understand this isn't over. It's just beginning." Outside, the sound of engines, multiple vehicles. Davis's voice came through the back door. "We've got company. 3 SUVs moving fast." Reeves grabbed Lily's arm. "We need to go now. My mom, she stays here. They're not after her. They're after you and what you know. I'm not leaving my mother, Lily." Sarah's voice was suddenly calm, steady. "Go with him. Mom, your father gave his life to expose the truth. I'm not going to let his sacrifice mean nothing." Sarah cupped her daughter's face in her hands. "Go find the people who can make this right, and don't stop fighting until you do." "Mom, I'm scared. I know, baby, I'm scared too." Sarah kissed her forehead. "But your father was the bravest man I ever knew. And you're his daughter. You can do this. I love you. I love you too. Now go." Reeves pulled Lily toward the back door. Titan followed, staying close. Behind them, the front door burst open. Men in tactical gear poured into the house. Reeves didn't look back. He grabbed Lily, threw her over his shoulder, and ran. Davis was waiting at the back fence with an engine running. "Get in. Go." They piled into the vehicle. Davis floored it. Tires screamed. The world became a blur of speed and desperation. In the back seat, Lily clutched her father's phone like a lifeline. Titan pressed against her, offering what comfort he could. And behind them, getting smaller every second, her childhood home disappeared into the chaos of an operation that should never have been necessary. "Jack." "Yeah, what happens now?" Reeves checked his mirrors. "No pursuit yet. Now we find people who can't be bought, people who can't be threatened. People who will listen to those recordings and do the right thing. Where do we find people like that?" Reeves was quiet for a long moment. "I know someone, a senator. She's been investigating corruption in military contracting for years. If anyone will listen, she will. A senator." Margaret Chen, chair of the Armed Services Committee. Reeves glanced at her in the mirror. She also happens to be Doc's sister. Lily's eyes widened. "Doc never mentioned. He doesn't talk about her. They had a falling out years ago, professional disagreement." Reeves's jaw tightened. "But if there's one person in Washington who can take down someone like Webb, it's her. Can we trust her? We don't have a choice." The vehicle sped through the night, carrying a 12-year-old girl, a retired war dog, and evidence that could bring down an empire of corruption. Behind them, powerful men were mobilizing. Ahead of them, a fight for justice was just beginning. And somewhere watching over all of it, the spirit of Master Chief Tom Carter waited for his daughter to finish what he started. They drove for 3 hours without stopping. Davis took back roads, avoiding highways where cameras could track them. Reeves stayed on the phone with Doc, coordinating, planning, trying to stay one step ahead of whoever was hunting them. Lily sat in the back seat with Titan's head in her lap. She hadn't spoken since they left her mother's house. Her eyes were fixed on her father's phone, scrolling through files she'd never known existed. "There's more," she finally said. Reeves turned. "More what? More recordings? More evidence?" Her voice was hollow. "My dad wasn't just documenting Webb's negligence. He was documenting a whole network." "What kind of network?" "Defense contractors, budget manipulation, kickbacks." Lily looked up with haunted eyes. Webb wasn't working alone. He was taking money from people who wanted military training shortcuts approved. "My dad found the paper trail." Davis swore under his breath. "That explains why they're coming so hard. How much money are we talking about?" Lily scrolled through a spreadsheet. "Millions, maybe tens of millions. There are payments going back 5 years. Reeves' phone buzzed. "Doc, talk to me. I reached my sister. She's willing to meet." Doc's voice was tense. "But there's a complication." "What kind of complication?" "Webb's not just a commander anymore. He got promoted 6 hours ago, Rear Admiral lower half. Someone fast-tracked his advancement the moment Lily walked out of that auction. That's impossible. Promotions take months. Unless you have friends in very high places, Doc paused. Jack, this goes deeper than we thought. Webb isn't the top of the food chain. He's a mid-level player being protected by someone with serious juice. Who? I don't know yet, but Margaret might. She's been investigating defense corruption for years. If anyone can connect these dots, it's her. Where do we meet? Arlington. Her office tomorrow morning, 8:00 a.m. That's 12 hours away. I know you need to find somewhere safe to wait it out. Doc's voice dropped. And Jack, watch your back. If they promoted Webb this fast, they're planning something. They wouldn't risk that kind of exposure unless they were confident they could contain the situation. Contain how? Silence. Doc, just get to Arlington and don't trust anyone you don't know personally. The line went dead. Reeves looked at Davis. We need a safe house. I know a place. Old teammate runs a hunting lodge about 2 hours north. Off the grid, no paper trail, do it. They drove north through the darkness. Lily finally fell asleep. Exhaustion overwhelming fear. Titan stayed awake, watching the road behind them with eyes that never stopped scanning for threats. Reeves used the time to think. Tom Carter had been more than a whistleblower. He'd been building a case against a network of corruption that stretched from military bases to defense contractors to apparently someone with enough power to promote officers overnight. And now, his 12-year-old daughter was the only person who could expose it all. Jack. Davis's voice was quiet. We've got a tail. Reeves checked the mirror. A single set of headlights half a mile back matching their speed exactly. How long? 20 minutes, maybe longer. Can you lose them in this terrain? Maybe. But if they have backup waiting, do what you can. Davis took the next turn hard, cutting onto a dirt road that wound through dense forest. The headlights behind them hesitated, then followed. Lily woke up. What's happening? Stay down. Titan growled, sensing the tension. Davis pushed the vehicle harder. The dirt road became rougher, barely more than a trail. Branches scraped against the windows. The suspension groaned in protest. There's a fork up ahead, Davis said. Left goes to the lodge, right goes to a dead end overlooking a ravine. Take the right. What? Trust me, Davis hesitated, then yanked the wheel right. The vehicle skidded, fishtailed, then straightened out on the narrower path. The headlights behind them followed. Kill the lights, Reeves said. Davis complied. The world went dark. Now stop. The vehicle jerked to a halt. Reeves was out before it finished moving, sidearm drawn. Stay with her, he told Davis. If I'm not back in 5 minutes, get her to Arlington. Jack, 5 minutes. He disappeared into the darkness. The pursuing vehicle came around the bend 30 seconds later. Its headlights swept across the empty road, finding nothing but trees and shadow. The driver slowed, stopped. 2 men emerged, both armed, both scanning the darkness with professional caution. They couldn't have gone far, one said. Spread out. They separated. Reeves waited. The first man passed within 3 ft of his position. Reeves moved like smoke, one hand over the mouth, the other finding the pressure point at the base of the skull. The man dropped without a sound. The second man heard something, turned, started to raise his weapon. He never finished the motion. Reeves was on him before he could react. A strike to the throat, a knee to the gut, a final blow that ended consciousness. 2 men down, maybe 15 seconds total. Reeves checked their identification. Private security contractors, no official government affiliation, deniable assets. He took their phones, their weapons, and their vehicle keys. Then he walked back to Davis. We're clear. Let's move. What happened to they'll wake up in a few hours with headaches and no ride. By then, we'll be long gone. They backtracked to the fork and took the left path this time. An hour later, they reached the hunting lodge, a wooden structure set back from the road, surrounded by trees, invisible to anyone who didn't know exactly where to look. The owner, a retired SEAL named Marcus Kine, met them at the door with a shotgun and a suspicious expression. Jack Reeves, it's been a while. Too long, Marcus. I need a favor. Kane's eyes moved to Davis, to Lily, to the German shepherd standing alert at the girl's side. That Tom Carter's dog? Yeah, and the girl, his daughter, Kane's expression softened slightly. I heard what happened to Tom. Good man, deserved better. He did. And right now his daughter needs somewhere safe to stay until morning. Kane was quiet for a moment, then he stepped aside. Get inside, all of you. The lodge was simple but secure. Kane showed them to rooms in the back away from windows with clear sightlines to every entrance. Get some sleep, he told Lily. You look like you need it. I can't sleep. Then rest. It's not the same thing, but it helps. Kane looked at Titan. The dog stays with you, always. Good. He'll hear trouble before any of us do. Kane left to talk with Reeves. Lily sat on the bed, Titan at her feet, and pulled out her father's phone again. There was one more file she hadn't opened. A video dated the morning her father died. Her finger hovered over the play button. Did she want to see this? Did she want to know what her father's last hours had looked like? Titan whined softly. His amber eyes met hers. You were there, she whispered. You saw everything. The dog pressed closer. Lily pressed play. Her father's face filled the screen. He looked tired, worried. But underneath that, there was something else. Determination. Lily, if you're watching this, then something's gone wrong. His voice was steady, but she could hear the strain beneath it. I'm sorry, sweetheart. I'm sorry I won't be there to see you grow up, to watch you graduate, to walk you down the aisle someday. But I need you to know that whatever happened, I made a choice. I chose to do what was right, even though I knew it might cost me everything. Tears streamed down Lily's face. The people I'm up against, they're powerful. They have money, connections, influence. They've been getting away with murder for years, and I'm the only one who's been willing to call them on it. That makes me dangerous to them, and dangerous people don't last long in this world. He paused, looked off camera for a moment. Titan's with me. He always is. And I want you to know whatever happens today, he'll take care of you. Dogs don't lie, Lily. They can't. Titan knows who the bad guys are. He'll show you. Another pause. I've uploaded everything to the cloud. Every document, every recording, every piece of evidence I've gathered over the past 2 years. The password is your birthday, Titan's service number, and our anniversary. You're the only person who knows all three. His voice cracked slightly. I believe in you, Lily. I believe in your courage, your intelligence, your heart. You're the best thing I ever did in this life. And I know that you'll finish what I started. Not because you have to, but because you're my daughter and Carter's. Don't quit. He leaned closer to the camera. I love you, sweetheart, more than words can say, more than the ocean is deep. Remember that always. The video ended. Lily sat in the darkness, her father's face frozen on the screen, tears falling onto Titan's fur. I miss you, Daddy, she whispered. I miss you so much. Titan pressed his nose against her hand, and somehow, impossibly, she felt her father's presence in that room watching over her, proud of her, loving her from wherever he was. I won't quit, she said. I promise I won't quit until everyone knows the truth. Morning came too soon. Reeves was already awake when Lily emerged from her room. He'd been up all night monitoring communications, planning routes, preparing for whatever came next. How are you holding up? I'm okay. Lily's voice was steadier than it had been. I found another video from my dad. What did it say? He knew they were going to kill him, he knew. And he went to that training exercise anyway. She met Reeves's eyes. He could have run, he could have hidden, but he didn't. That was Tom. Always did what was right, no matter the cost. I'm going to be like him. Reeves smiled slightly. You already are. They left the lodge at 6:00 a.m. Clear's throat. Kane watched them go, shotgun in hand, eyes scanning the road. Watch yourself, Jack. Whatever you're into, it's bigger than you think. I know, and the girl. Reeves looked at Lily standing beside the vehicle with Titan at her side. She's the bravest person I've ever met. She'll be fine. The drive to Arlington took 4 hours. They switched vehicles twice using cars Kane had stashed at different locations. By the time they reached the city, they'd left no trail that could be followed. Senator Margaret Chen's office was in the Hart Senate building. Security was tight, but Doc had arranged clearance. They were escorted through back corridors, away from cameras and curious eyes. Margaret Chen met them in a conference room on the 4th floor. She was 60, sharpied with the bearing of someone who'd spent decades fighting battles most people never saw. Chief Tor's friends, she said, you must be in serious trouble. Reeves stepped forward. Ma'am, we have evidence of corruption extending from military command to defense contractors. Evidence that got a Navy SEAL killed. Evidence that powerful people are trying to destroy. And this is the evidence. Lily stepped forward. It's on my father's phone. Everything he gathered, everything that proves what they did. Margaret's eyes moved to the girl, softened slightly. You're Tom Carter's daughter. Yes, ma'am, I knew your father briefly. He testified before my committee 3 years ago about safety concerns in EOD training. She paused. I should have listened more carefully. You can listen now. Margaret looked at the phone in Lily's hand, at the dog standing guard beside her, at the determination burning in her young eyes. Show me. They spent 2 hours going through the evidence, the emails, the recordings, the financial documents, the video Tom Carter had made the morning he died. Margaret's face grew darker with each revelation. This is worse than I thought, she finally said. Webb isn't just covering up negligence. He's part of a network that's been defrauding the military for years, and the person protecting him. Who is it? Margaret was quiet for a moment. I have suspicions, but I need to verify before I say anything. Ma'am, with respect, we're running out of time. There are people trying to kill this girl to keep her quiet. I understand that, but if I move too fast, make accusations I can't prove, they'll bury everything. The evidence will disappear, the witnesses will be discredited, and nothing will change. Margaret looked at Lily. Your father understood that. It's why he spent 2 years building this case instead of going public immediately. So what do? We do this, right? I have contacts at the Department of Justice who can't be bought. I have journalists who have been investigating defense corruption for years, and I have subpoena power. Margaret stood. Give me 48 hours. I'll convene an emergency session of the Armed Services Committee. We'll subpoena Webb and everyone connected to this network. We'll put your evidence into the official record where it can't be erased or classified. And in the meantime, you stay hidden, you stay safe, and you trust me to do my job. Reeves hesitated. Ma'am, Chief Reeves, I've been fighting corruption in this government for 30 years. I've taken down generals, secretaries, and CEOs. I know how this game is played. Her eyes hardened. And I owe your friend's brother. I owe Sam more than I can ever repay. So trust me when I say I will not let this girl's father die in vain. What happened between you and Doc? Margaret was quiet for a long moment. We disagreed about methods, about how far to go to expose the truth. Sam wanted to burn everything down. I wanted to work within the system. She paused. He thought I was a coward. I thought he was reckless. We haven't spoken in 5 years. He's the one who sent us to you. I know. A ghost of a smile crossed her face. Maybe that's his way of apologizing. Clear's throat. They were escorted to a safe house outside the city. Secret Service protection, armed guards, all the resources a senator with 30 years of accumulated power could provide. Lily sat by the window, watching the street below, tighten at her feet. Do you think she can really do it? She asked Reeves, take down Webb and everyone protecting him. If anyone can, she can, but you're not sure. Reeves was quiet for a moment. In my experience, powerful people protect each other. They have resources most of us can't imagine. They can make evidence disappear. They can make witnesses disappear. They can rewrite history to say whatever they wanted to say. Then why are we doing this? Because sometimes the good guys win. Sometimes one person with enough courage can change everything. Your father believed that, and so do I. Lily turned to look at him. What was he like? My dad, I mean, before he died. What was he like when you served together? Reeves smiled. He was the best operator I ever worked with. Steady under fire, brilliant with explosives, could defuse a bomb while bullets were flying overhead and never break a sweat. His voice softened. But that's not what made him special. What made him special was how much he cared about his team, about the mission, about doing things the right way, even when the easy way was right there. He sounds like a hero. He was, but not the kind you see in movies, the real kind. The kind who shows up every day, does the hard work, makes the tough choices, and never asks for credit. Reeves met her eyes. That's the kind of hero you are too, Lily, whether you know it or not. I don't feel like a hero. I feel scared. That's how you know you're doing something brave. Courage isn't the absence of fear. It's doing what needs to be done even when you're terrified. Titan's head lifted suddenly, his ears swiveled toward the door. A low growl built in his chest. Reeves was on his feet instantly. "What is it, boy?" The door burst open. 6 men in tactical gear poured into the room, not Secret Service. Their uniforms were wrong, their weapons were different. Get down now." Reeves drew his weapon but never got a shot off. A taser hit him square in the chest. He dropped, convulsing. Davis went down next. Then the 2 guards who'd been posted outside. Lily screamed. Titan lunged. 70 lb of trained military dog hit the first intruder before he could react. Jaws closed on his arm, bones cracked. The man screamed and fell, but there were too many. A second intruder hit Titan with something. A shock stick maybe, or a tranquilizer. The dog yelled and staggered. "Titan!" Lily tried to run to him. Hands grabbed her, pulled her back. Let me go, let me go." "Shut up." The voice was cold, familiar. Lily looked up into the face of the man holding her. "Commander, no, Admiral Marcus Webb. Hello, Miss Carter, we need to talk. How did you find us? Did you really think Senator Chen could protect you?" "She's been under surveillance for months. We knew the moment you walked into her office." Webb smiled. "The irony is delicious. You spent all that effort getting to her and she led us right to you. The evidence is already with her. It's too late, is it?" Webb held up a tablet. "Right now, your father's cloud storage is being wiped. Every file, every recording, every piece of evidence he gathered gone. No. And Senator Chen is about to have a very unfortunate car accident on her way home tonight. Tragic. But these things happen. You can't." "I can do whatever I want, Miss Carter. That's what power means." Webb leaned closer. "Your father didn't understand that. He thought the truth mattered. He thought doing the right thing would protect him." His voice dropped. "It didn't. You killed him." "I authorized a training exercise with protocols I knew were unsafe. There's a difference." Webb shrugged. "Your father was warned. He chose not to listen. The consequences were unfortunate. You're a monster. I'm a pragmatist. There's a difference." Webb straightened. "Now we have a choice to make. You can come with us quietly, answer some questions, and then disappear into witness protection where no one will ever find you. Or," Titan growled. Even drugged, even down, the dog was fighting. His eyes found Webb and locked on with the same intensity they'd shown at the auction. "Your dog doesn't seem to like me. He knows what you are. He knows what I smell like. There's a difference." Webb gestured to his men. "Secure the animal. We're leaving." "No." Lily's voice was suddenly steady. "You're not taking him. I don't think you're in a position to make demands. You said I have a choice. I choose to come with you willingly, answer your questions, disappear." She met his eyes, "But Titan stays free. You let him go. Those are my terms." Webb studied her for a long moment. "Why would you sacrifice yourself for a dog?" "Because he's all I have left of my father, and because my dad would have done the same thing for any member of his team." Lily's chin lifted. "Let him go, and I'll cooperate. Try to take him, and I'll fight you every step of the way. I'll scream, I'll bite. I'll make this as difficult as possible. Your choice." Webb's eyes narrowed. The men around him shifted uncomfortably. A 12-year-old girl bargaining with an admiral, and somehow she was the one in control. "Fine." Webb's voice was tight. "The dog goes free, but you come with us now. No more games. Deal." They released Titan. The dog stumbled to his feet, still groggy, still fighting the effects of whatever they'd hit him with. His eyes found Lily. "Go," she whispered. "Find Doc. Find someone who can help. Titan wed. Go, boy, please." The dog hesitated, every instinct screaming at him to stay, to protect, to fight. But he'd been trained to follow commands, and this command came from the voice that sounded most like his fallen partner. Titan turned and ran. Webb watched him go with something like disgust. "Sentimental fool, just like your father. My father was a hero. Your father was a problem, and problems get solved." Webb grabbed her arm. "Let's go." They dragged her out of the safe house. Behind her, Reeves lay unconscious on the floor. Ahead of her, the unknown waited. And somewhere in the darkness, a German shepherd with a mission was running toward the only person who might still be able to help. Titan ran through the darkness like a ghost with a mission. His muscles still trembled from the shock they'd hit him with. His vision blurred at the edges, but the training Tom Carter had drilled into him for 8 years pushed through the pain, through the disorientation, through everything. Find help. Protect the pack. Never quit. The German shepherd's nose worked the air, searching for a scent he knew. A scent connected to the men who'd protected Lily. A scent that might lead to salvation. 3 miles from the safe house, he found it. Doc Torres was pacing outside a diner when a blur of sable fur came barreling out of the darkness and nearly knocked him off his feet. Titan, what the dog, was frantic. Barking, spinning, running a few feet in one direction, then coming back. The universal canine signal for follow me now. Easy, boy, easy. Doc meltdown, his hands finding Titan's face. The dog's eyes were wild with desperation. Where's Lily? Where's Reeves? Titan barked again and lunged toward the direction he'd come. Doc's blood went cold. He grabbed his phone, dialed Reeves, no answer. Dialed Davis, nothing. Dialed the safe house direct line. Dead. Oh God, he was running before he finished the thought. Titan led the way, cutting through alleys and back streets, navigating by instinct and scent. When they reached the safe house, the door was hanging open. Doc drew his weapon and entered low. Reeves was on the floor, breathing but unconscious. Taser burns on his chest. Davis was in the corner, same condition. The Secret Service guards were down too, all alive. All incapacitated with professional precision. No Lily, no sign of struggle beyond the initial takedown. They'd come in fast, hit hard, and taken exactly what they wanted. Jack, Doc slapped his face. Jack, wake up. Reeves's eyes fluttered open. Confusion clears throat first, then memory, then horror. Lily, she's gone. Titan came and found me. Webb, it was Webb. Reeves struggled to sit up. He knew we were here. He said Chen was compromised under surveillance. Where did they take her? I don't know. I was down before. Reeves' eyes found Titan. The dog. He was there. He saw everything. Doc looked at the German shepherd. Titan was pacing, agitated, his nose constantly working the air. He's got their scent, then he can track them. Jack, you can barely stand. I don't care. Reeves forced himself to his feet, swaying. That girl trusted me. Tom trusted me. I'm not going to let her disappear into some black site where nobody ever finds her. We need backup. From who? Webb has people everywhere. The senator's compromised. The safe house is burned. Reeves grabbed Doc's arm. It's us, just us. And whatever time we have before they move her somewhere we can't reach. Doc looked at Titan, at Reeves, at the unconscious men around them. Then we move now. Titan led them through the city like a guided missile. The dog tracked the scent trail with relentless focus, across streets, through parking garages, along back roads that seemed designed to confuse pursuit. Webb's people had been careful, but they hadn't counted on a German shepherd who'd been tracking terrorists through the mountains of Afghanistan for 8 years. He's slowing down, Doc said. Reeves looked ahead. He's found something. Titan had stopped in front of an industrial complex on the outskirts of the city. Abandoned warehouses, empty lots, the kind of place where people did things they didn't want anyone to see. Webb's got her in there. His scent trail leads inside. Doc studied the complex. One main entrance, multiple service doors, probably guards at every access point. How many men does he have? Based on what hit the safe house, 6 minimum, maybe more, and there's two of us, and Titan. Reeves looked at the dog, at the building, at the impossible odds. I've had worse. When? I'll let you know if I think of something. They circled the complex, looking for weaknesses. Doc spotted a ventilation shaft on the north side, big enough for a man to crawl through if he didn't mind tight spaces and rust. I can get in that way, create a distraction, draw their attention. And then you and Titan hit the main entrance while they're focused on me. That's suicide. It's a plan. Doc checked his weapon. Besides, I owe Tom. This is how I pay that debt. Doc, save it, Jack. We don't have time for sentiment. He met Reeves's eyes. Get the girl, get her out. Make sure her father's sacrifice meant something. What about you? Doc smiled grimly. I've been on borrowed time since Fallujah. If this is where I cash out, at least it'll be for something that matters. Before Reeves could respond, Doc was moving. Running low across the empty lot toward the ventilation shaft. Reeves watched him go. Then he looked down at Titan. You ready, boy? The dog's eyes gleamed in the darkness. Then let's go get her. Inside the warehouse, Lily Carter sat in a metal chair with her hands zip-tied behind her back. Webb stood in front of her, tablet in hand, looking at something that made him smile. It's done. Your father's cloud storage has been completely wiped. Every file, every recording, every piece of evidence he spent 2 years gathering. He looked up. All that work, all that sacrifice gone in 15 minutes. Lily's face was pale, but her eyes stayed steady. It doesn't matter, doesn't it? You can erase files. You can destroy evidence, but you can't erase what people know. She leaned forward slightly. Doc has copies. Senator Chen has copies. By now, a dozen people have seen those recordings. You can't kill all of them, can't I? The question hung in the air like a threat. Senator Chen's motorcade had an unfortunate accident 20 minutes ago. She's in critical condition at George Washington Hospital. The doctors aren't optimistic. Webb's smile widened. And your friend Doc, he's probably dead by now, too. My people tracked the safe house breach. They know who escaped. You're lying, am I? Webb showed her the tablet. News alerts. Senator Chen in critical condition after crash. Foul play suspected. Lily's composure cracked just for a moment, just enough for Webb to see. There it is. Snort's his voice was almost gentle. That's the moment you realize how alone you really are. How powerless, how completely, utterly out of your depth. I'm not alone. No, your father's dead. Your protectors are neutralized. Your evidence is destroyed. Your allies are dying. Webb crouched down to her eye level. Who's left, Lily? Who's going to save you? I don't need anyone to save me. Is that right? My father taught me something. Lily's voice was steady again. He said, the truth is like water. You can try to contain it, try to channel it, try to dam it up, but eventually it always finds a way through. Always. Pretty words, but your father's dead and his truth died with him. No, Lily shook her head slowly. It didn't. Something in her tone made Webb pause. What do you mean? You think you destroyed everything? You think you wiped out all the evidence? Lily's lips curved into a smile that didn't reach her eyes. But you missed something. What? My father wasn't stupid. He knew people like you would try to erase his work. So he made backup plans, layers of backup plans. There's nothing left. We checked everything. Did you check the Navy's own servers? Webb's face went still. What? My dad uploaded copies of everything to the Navy's classified archive 6 months ago. Buried them in training files, EOD technical manuals, places nobody would think to look. Lily's smile widened. He told me about it the morning he died. He said even if they destroyed his cloud storage, even if they killed everyone who knew about the evidence, the files would still be there waiting. That's impossible. We have access to you, have access to what they let you see. My dad was an EOD tech. He spent 20 years learning how to hide things in places nobody would find them. Lily tilted her head. You really think you're smarter than he was? Webb's composure cracked. He grabbed her arm. Where are the files? Tell me exactly where. Kill me and you'll never know. I can make you talk. My father was tortured by Taliban fighters for 3 days. He never gave up his team's position, never gave up anything. Lily's eyes met his without flinching. You think I'm going to break for you? Webb's hand rose. The first explosion rocked the building before he could strike. Alarms screamed. Guards shouted. The lights flickered. What the hell? A second explosion closer this time. The sound of gunfire echoed from somewhere in the complex. Sir, we've got a breach north side. How many? Unknown, but they're moving fast. Webb turned to his men. Find them. Kill them. I don't care who they are. 3 guards ran toward the source of the chaos. That left Webb and 2 men with Lily. A third explosion. This one so close the floor shook. And then the main door burst open. Reeves came through like a force of nature. 2 shots, 2 guards down before they could react. Webb grabbed Lily, pulling her in front of him like a shield. His pistol pressed against her temple. Stop, stop, or she dies. Reeves froze, his weapon trained on Webb, his eyes calculating angles. Let her go, Webb. Drop your gun. Not happening. I'll kill her. I swear to God. And then what? You think you're walking out of here? Doc's got this place lit up like the 4th of July. NCIS is on their way. It's over. It's not over until I say it's over. Dad was right about you. The voice came from Lily. Quiet, calm, completely unafraid. He said you were a coward. Said that's why you cut corners on protocols, because you were too scared to stand up to the contractors who were paying you. Too scared to do the right thing. Shut up. He said cowards always make the same mistake. They think they can control everything. They think they can make the truth go away. Lily smiled. But the truth doesn't go away, it just waits. I said, shut up. You know what else my dad said? Webb's hand shook. The gun pressed harder against her temple. He said Titan was the best judge of character he ever knew. said that dog could spot a threat from 50 yards away. What does that have to do with a growl low deep coming from somewhere in the shadows behind Webb? The Admiral's eyes went wide. No. 70 lb of German Shepherd hit him from behind. The gun flew from Webb's hand. He went down screaming. Titan's jaws found his arm and clamped down with the force of a steel trap. Reeves moved instantly. He grabbed Lily, cutting her zip ties with a combat knife, pulling her away from the chaos. "Are you okay?" "I'm fine, Titan. He knows what he's doing." Webb was still screaming. Titan had him pinned, teeth buried in his forearm, eyes burning with something that looked almost like satisfaction. "Call him off, call him off." Lily walked toward them slowly. "My father spent 8 years training this dog, 8 years of missions, deployments, life or death situations. Titan was there for all of it. She stopped 3 FT away, and you know what my dad always said? Please, he said, dogs remember. They remember kindness. They remember cruelty. They remember the people who hurt their pack." Lily crouched down. "Titan remembers you, Admiral. He remembers the day my father died. He remembers your scent, your voice, everything. I didn't kill him, the explosion. You authorized protocols you knew were dangerous. You ignored warnings from the best EOD tech in the fleet. You let my father walk into a situation that killed him so you could keep collecting money from contractors who were cutting corners." Lily's voice hardened. "You might not have lit the fuse, but you built the bomb." "Lily," Reeves' voice was gentle. "We need to go. More guards could be coming." "Not yet, Lily. I need him to know something first." She leaned closer to Webb. "The files I mentioned, the ones on the Navy servers. They're real, and in about 30 minutes, they're going to be automatically forwarded to every news outlet in the country, every congressman on the Armed Services Committee, every investigator at NCIS and the FBI. Webb's face went white. "You're lying." "My father set it up before he died. A dead man's switch. If he didn't enter a code every 30 days, the files would be released." Lily stood. "He missed his deadline 6 months ago. The only reason they haven't been sent yet is because I've been entering the code for him, keeping them locked, waiting for the right moment." "Why?" "Because I wanted to find you first. I wanted to look you in the eyes. I wanted you to know that everything you did, every lie you told, every corner you cut, every life you destroyed, it was all for nothing." She smiled. "The truth is coming out, Admiral, and there's nothing you can do to stop it. You can't watch me." She pulled out her father's phone, the one they'd taken from her, the one she'd somehow gotten back. Wait, she hadn't gotten it back. Reeves must have found it, must have grabbed it during the assault. She opened the app her father had built, entered a code. A countdown appeared on the screen. 29 minutes, 58 seconds, 57 seconds. That's how long you have before your world ends. Lily pocketed the phone. "I'd start praying if I were you." Titan, release. The dog let go of Webb's arm and stepped back. The Admiral lay on the ground, clutching his mangled forearm, face twisted in pain and fear. "You're finished," Lily said, "and so is everyone who helped you." She turned and walked toward the door. Reeves followed, covering her retreat. Titan walked between them, head high, tail steady. They left Webb bleeding on the warehouse floor. Behind them, the countdown continued. 28 minutes, 43 seconds. The truth was coming. Outside, Doc was waiting by their vehicle. He was bleeding from a cut on his forehead and favoring his left leg, but he was alive. "You made it thanks to your distraction." Reeves helped Lily into the car. "How bad are you hit?" "Flesh wounds. I've had worse hangovers." Doc looked at Lily. "You okay, kid?" "I'm okay." She hugged him suddenly, fiercely. Thank you for coming. Thank Titan. He's the one who found me." The German Shepherd jumped into the car and immediately pressed against Lily's side. She wrapped her arms around his neck. "Good boy," she whispered. "The best boy. We need to move," Reeves said. "Webb's people will regroup. Let them." Lily's voice was steady. "In 26 minutes it won't matter." "What did you do?" "I released everything. All my father's evidence, every document, every recording, every piece of proof he gathered." She pulled out the phone and showed them the countdown. "It's going to every news outlet, every congressman, every investigator. By tomorrow morning, the whole world will know what Webb did. What all of them did." Doc stared at the screen. "Your father planned this. He planned for everything. He knew he might not survive. He knew they'd try to destroy the evidence, so he built fail-safes, layers of protection. Lily's eyes glistened. He was the smartest man I ever knew. Doc's voice was rough. He really was. They drove in silence for a few minutes. Then Reeves spoke. What about Senator Chen? Webb said she was in an accident. Check the news. Doc pulled out his phone, scrolled through headlines. Critical condition but stable. She's going to make it. Lily exhaled slowly. Good, she'll be able to testify. Testify about what? Everything. Webb's network, the contractors who were paying him, the officials who covered it up. Lily looked at them. My father didn't just gather evidence about his own death. He gathered evidence about the whole conspiracy. Years of corruption, millions of dollars in bribes, safety violations that killed a dozen service members before him. How do you know all this? I read the files, all of them, while I was waiting for them to come for me. Lily's jaw tightened. My father wasn't just a whistleblower. He was building a case that would bring down an entire network of corruption. And now that case is about to go public. Reeves looked at her in the rearview mirror. You're 12 years old. I know. You just took down a rear admiral and exposed a conspiracy that's been running for years. I know your father would be proud. Lily's eyes filled with tears. The first she'd allowed herself since the warehouse. I hope so, I don't hope. Reeves's voice was firm, I know. Tom Carter was my friend. He was the best operator I ever served with, and you're exactly like him. Brave, smart, stubborn as hell, he smiled. He'd be so proud he couldn't stand it. Titan pressed closer to Lily. She buried her face in his fur. Thank you, she whispered. Thank you for believing me. Thank you for helping. Thank you for reminding us what we're supposed to stand for. The countdown hit 20 minutes. 1918 somewhere in the city, servers were preparing to send files that would change everything. Somewhere in a hospital, a senator was waking up to news that her investigation was about to be vindicated. Somewhere in a warehouse, an admiral was realizing that his career, his freedom, and his legacy were about to be destroyed. And in a car driving through the darkness, a 12-year-old girl held her father's dog and finally allowed herself to believe that justice was coming. What happens now? She asked. Now we get you somewhere safe, Doc said. Real safe this time. Somewhere Webb's people can't touch you. And then we watched the fireworks. Reeves checked his mirrors. Tomorrow the news is going to explode. Investigations will be launched. People will be arrested. The whole rotten system is going to come crashing down. Will they believe it? All the evidence. They'll have to. Your father documented everything. Times, dates, amounts, names. It's airtight. Doc looked at her. He built a case that no lawyer could argue with, no politician could ignore. He always said the truth was the most powerful weapon. He was right. The countdown hit 15 minutes. Lily watched the numbers decrease. 14, 13, 12. Her father's legacy about to be unleashed on the world, his final mission about to be completed. Dad, she whispered, too quietly for anyone else to hear. We did it. We finished what you started. Titan's tail wagged slightly, and somehow, impossibly, Lily felt her father's presence in that moment, watching over her, proud of her, loving her from wherever he was. The countdown hit 10 minutes. 9/8 the truth was coming and nothing would ever be the same. The countdown hit 0 at 3:47 a.m. Lily watched the screen as the final seconds ticked away. 3, 2, 1 transmission complete. 17 gigabytes of evidence, hundreds of documents, dozens of recordings, years of corruption exposed in a single moment. Her father's final mission accomplished. It's done, she whispered. Doc put his hand on her shoulder. Now we wait. They didn't have to wait long. By 4:00 a.m., Reeves's phone was buzzing constantly. Journalists, federal investigators, military officials, everyone wanted to know where the files had come from. Everyone wanted to talk to whoever had released them. By 5:00 a.m., the first news stories broke. Massive corruption scandal rocks Navy. Rear Admiral Webb implicated in cover-up. Whistleblower evidence reveals years of fraud. By 6:00 a.m., Webb was in federal custody. They got him. Reeves clears throat, lowered his phone. NCIS took him into custody 20 minutes ago. He's not talking, but with the evidence your father gathered, they don't need him to. Lily felt something release in her chest, a tension she'd been carrying for 6 months. The weight of a mission she'd inherited from a dead man. It's over. The beginning is over. Doc sat down across from her. The trials, the investigations, the cleanup, that's going to take years, but Webb's finished. His network is finished. Everyone connected to this is going to prison. And my mom's safe. We have people watching her house. Nobody's going to touch her. Lily nodded slowly. Then the tears came. She'd been holding them back for so long. Through the auction, through the confrontation, through the kidnapping and the escape and the countdown. She'd been strong because she had to be, because her father needed her to be. But now it was over, and the grief she'd been fighting finally broke through. Doc held her while she sobbed. Titan pressed against her legs, whining softly. Reeves stood guard at the window, giving her privacy while watching for threats that might never come. She cried for her father, for the years she'd never have with him, for the graduation he'd miss, the wedding he'd never attend, the grandchildren he'd never meet. She cried for herself, for the childhood that had ended the moment she walked into that auction, for the innocence she'd lost when she learned the truth about how her father died. And she cried with relief because despite everything, she'd done it. She'd finished what he started. She'd honored his memory in the only way that mattered. "I miss him," she whispered into Doc's shoulder. "I know, honey, I miss him too. Does it ever get easier?" Doc was quiet for a long moment. "No, it doesn't get easier, but it gets different. The sharp edges wear down, the memories stop being painful and start being precious." He pulled back and looked at her. "Your father loved you more than anything in this world. That love doesn't go away just because he's gone. It lives in you in everything you do. In the courage you showed today, I was so scared. Of course you were. Only fools aren't scared when they're facing down people who want to hurt them." Doc smiled. "But you did it anyway. That's what courage is, not the absence of fear. The presence of action despite fear." "Dad used to say that. Where do you think I learned it?" The next few days were chaos. Federal investigators descended on every facility connected to Webb's network. Arrests were made across 6 states. Defense contractors who'd been bribing military officials for years found themselves facing decades in prison. Senator Chen, recovering from her injuries, called an emergency session of the Armed Services Committee. She used Lily's evidence to launch the most comprehensive investigation into military procurement fraud in a generation. And through it all, Lily stayed hidden, protected by a rotating team of SEALs who'd served with her father, men who considered guarding his daughter the highest honor they could receive. On the 3rd day, her mother arrived. Sarah Carter burst through the safe house door and grabbed her daughter in a hug that seemed like it would never end. "Lily. Oh God, Lily, I'm okay, Mom. I'm okay. I was so scared when they came to the house when I didn't know where you were. I know. I'm sorry, I'm so sorry." They held each other for a long time, mother and daughter, survivors of a loss that had torn their world apart. "I watched the news," Sarah said finally, pulling back to look at her daughter. "I saw what you did, what your father's evidence exposed." "Are you angry? Angry?" Sarah laughed. A wet, broken sound. "Lily, I'm proud. I'm terrified and proud and amazed." And she shook her head. "I don't even know what I am. My 12-year-old daughter just took down a rear admiral and exposed a conspiracy that's been running for years. Dad did most of the work. Your dad gathered the evidence. You made sure it mattered." Sarah cupped her daughter's face. "He always said you were the bravest person he knew. I didn't understand what he meant until now." "Mom, yeah, baby, I want to testify at the trials. I want to tell the world what they did to Dad." Sarah's face went pale. "Lily, that's dangerous. The people who tried to kill me are in custody. The network is destroyed. There's nobody left to be afraid of." Lily took her mother's hands. "Dad spent 2 years building this case. He died trying to expose the truth. I'm not going to let someone else tell his story. I'm going to tell it myself." Sarah was quiet for a long moment. Then she nodded. "Okay, if that's what you need to do, I'll support you." Her voice broke slightly. "I'll always support you." The trial began 3 months later. Admiral Marcus Webb sat at the defendant's table looking like a man who'd aged 20 years in 90 days. His lawyer had tried everything. Motions to dismiss, claims of executive privilege, arguments that the evidence had been illegally obtained. None of it worked. The prosecution's case was overwhelming. Tom Carter had documented everything. Every email Webb had sent ordering him to drop his investigation. Every override form Webb had signed approving unsafe protocols. Every payment Webb had received from contractors who were cutting corners to save money. And then there were the recordings. The courtroom went silent as Tom Carter's voice filled the room for the first time. "Sir, with respect, those detonation sequences are not safe. The timing windows are too tight. Someone's going to get killed." And Webb's reply, cold and dismissive, "That's not your call to make." The jury watched Lily's face as she listened to her father's voice, watched the tears stream down her cheeks, watched her hand find Titan's fur and grip tight. When it was her turn to testify, she walked to the stand with a German shepherd at her side. The judge had granted special permission. The dog who'd witnessed Tom Carter's death, who'd identified his killer, who helped his daughter escape from captivity. "Miss Carter," the prosecutor approached gently. "Can you tell us about the morning your father died? He woke me up early around 5:00 a.m. He said he had something important to tell me." "What did he say?" Lily's voice was steady, but tears continued to fall. "He gave me an envelope. He said if anything ever happened to him, I should take it to the base and get Titan. He said the evidence inside would explain everything." "Did he seem afraid?" "No," Lily shook her head. "He seemed determined, like he knew what was coming but refused to run from it." "Why do you think he didn't report his concerns to someone else, someone higher up the chain?" "He tried for 2 years. He tried. He filed complaints, submitted reports, requested meetings with oversight committees." Lily looked directly at Webb. Nobody listened. Or the people who did listen were already being paid to ignore him. Clear's throat, and the defendant, Admiral Webb, he told my dad to drop it, told him there would be consequences if he didn't. Lily's voice hardened. 2 days later, my dad was dead, and Webb was writing the report that called it an accident. The defense attorney tried to cross-examine her, tried to shake her story, tried to suggest she'd been coached or manipulated. Lily didn't flinch. "My father was the most honest man I've ever known. He spent his entire career serving this country. He died trying to protect his team from protocols he knew were dangerous." She looked at the jury. "All I did was make sure his sacrifice wasn't forgotten." The verdict came on a Thursday afternoon. Guilty on all counts: negligent homicide, conspiracy, obstruction of justice, bribery, corruption. Webb stood motionless as the foreman read the verdict. His face was blank, empty. The face of a man who'd built his entire life on lies and finally been forced to confront the truth. "Admiral Marcus Webb, you are hereby sentenced to 45 years in federal prison without the possibility of parole." The courtroom erupted. Lily sat in the gallery, tightened at her feet, and felt something she hadn't felt in months. Peace. Not happiness that would take longer, maybe years, but peace. The quiet knowledge that justice had been served, that her father's death had meaning, that the truth finally had won. Doc appeared beside her. "How do you feel?" "I don't know." She looked at Webb, being led away in handcuffs. "I thought I'd feel satisfied, vindicated, but I just feel tired." "That's normal. You've been running on adrenaline and rage for 6 months. Now that it's over, your body doesn't know what to do. What happens now? Now you heal, you go back to school, you try to be a normal kid for a while." Doc smiled. "You've earned that, Lily, more than anyone I've ever known." "I don't think I can be normal anymore." "No, probably not, but you can be something better. You can be someone who knows what she's capable of. Someone who's faced the worst the world has to offer and refused to break." He put his hand on her shoulder. "Your father would be so proud of you." "I know." Lily's eyes glistened. "I just wish he could have told me himself." The memorial service was held on a Saturday. Full military honors, flag-draped coffin, 21-gun salute, everything Tom Carter had earned through 2 decades of service. But this time it was different. This time the truth was told. The commanding officer who spoke didn't mention equipment failure or tragic accidents. He spoke about a man who'd given everything to expose corruption. A warrior who died fighting for what was right. A father who'd prepared his daughter to finish his mission. Master Chief Tom Carter served his country with honor and distinction, but his greatest service came in the final years of his life when he chose to fight against corruption within his own ranks. He knew the risks. He accepted them, and when the worst happened, he made sure the truth would survive. Lily stood at attention as they lowered the coffin. Titan sat beside her, silent and still, watching the ceremony with eyes that seemed to understand. When it was over, when the crowd had dispersed and the dignitaries had left, she walked to the grave alone. "Hi, Dad." The headstone was simple: name, rank, dates, and the words Tom had requested years ago when he'd first written his will. The truth always finds a way. "We did it, we got them. Webb's going to prison for the rest of his life. The contractors are being prosecuted. The network is destroyed." She knelt down and touched the cold stone. "Everything you worked for, everything you sacrificed, it mattered. It all mattered." Titan pressed against her. "I'm going to be okay, Dad. Mom and I were going to be okay. It's going to take time, but we'll get through this together." She smiled through her tears. "And Titan's staying with me just like you wanted. He's a good boy. The best boy, just like you always said." She stayed at the grave until the sun began to set. Then she stood, wiped her eyes, and walked back to where her mother was waiting. "Ready to go home?" Lily looked back at the headstone one more time. "Yeah, I'm ready." 1 year later, Lily Carter stood at a podium in the Hart Senate building, looking out at a crowd of military officials, journalists, and advocacy groups. Behind her, a banner read, "The Carter Act, Protecting Military Whistleblowers." 1 year ago, I walked into a military auction to save my father's dog. I didn't know what I was starting. I just knew that someone had to tell the truth about what happened to him. The crowd was silent, attentive. My father spent 2 years gathering evidence of corruption that was killing American service members. He filed complaints. He wrote reports. He did everything by the book, and the system failed him. The people who were supposed to protect whistleblowers were the same people taking bribes from contractors. She looked at Senator Chen sitting in the front row, the woman who'd sponsored the legislation, the woman who'd helped turn Lily's tragedy into change. The Carter Act creates independent oversight for military whistleblowers. It ensures that complaints can't be buried or ignored. It protects the families of service members who risk everything to tell the truth. Lily's voice strengthened. "It makes sure that what happened to my father can never happen again." Applause filled the room. My dad used to say that courage isn't about being unafraid. It's about doing what's right even when you're terrified. He lived that belief every day of his life, and he died because of it. She looked down at Titan, sitting calmly at her feet, but his death wasn't meaningless. Because of what he gathered, because of what I released, because of everyone in this room who refused to let the truth stay buried, 37 corrupt officials are in prison. 12 defense contractors have been shut down, and military procurement protocols across every branch have been reformed. She paused, composed herself. "I'm 13 years old. A year ago, I was just a kid who missed her dad. Today, I'm standing in front of Congress watching a lawn named after him become reality." She smiled. "I think he'd be pretty proud of that." More applause. Standing ovation this time. Doc caught her eye from the back of the room. He nodded once, proud. Reeves was there, too, along with Davis and a dozen other SEALs who'd served with her father. Men who'd become her protectors, her extended family. And in the front row, her mother was crying. Tears of pride this time, tears of hope. After the ceremony, Lily found herself alone with Titan in a quiet hallway. She knelt down and wrapped her arms around the dog who'd started everything. The dog who'd found her father's killers. The dog who'd led rescuers to her. The dog who'd never stopped fighting even when everyone else had given up. "We did it, boy. We really did it." Titan's tail wagged. "Dad would be so proud of you, of both of us." She buried her face in his fur. "I couldn't have done any of this without you. You know that, right?" The dog pressed closer. "I love you, Titan. I know you probably already know that, but I wanted to say it anyway." She pulled back and looked into his amber eyes. "Thank you. Thank you for staying with Dad when he died. Thank you for leading me to the truth. Thank you for being my partner through everything." Titan licked her face. She laughed, the first real laugh she'd managed in over a year. "Okay. Okay, I love you too, goofball." Her mother appeared at the end of the hallway. "Ready to go home?" Lily stood, looked around the building where history had just been made, where her father's legacy had been cemented into law. "Yeah, I'm ready." They walked out together. Mother, daughter, dog. A family that had been shattered and rebuilt, changed forever by tragedy but not destroyed by it, stronger now than before, known by loss and healed by justice. Outside, the sun was shining. It was a beautiful day, the kind of day Tom Carter would have loved. And somewhere, somehow, Lily knew he was watching. Mom, yeah, baby, I've been thinking about what I want to do when I grow up. I mean, what's that? Lily looked at Titan, at the dog who shown her what loyalty really meant. At the partner who taught her the truth was worth fighting for. I want to train military dogs like Titan. I want to help them find homes when they retire. Make sure they're not forgotten. Make sure they're treated with the honor they deserve. Sarah smiled through fresh tears. Your father would love that, I know. Lily took her mother's hand, that's why I want to do it. They walked to the car together. Behind them, the Capitol building stood tall against a clear blue sky. Symbol of a system that had failed her father but finally been forced to change. Lily looked back one more time. Thank you, Dad, she whispered, for everything. Then she climbed into the car, Titan jumping in beside her, and drove toward a future that was finally truly hers. 2 years later, the K-9 Memorial at Arlington National Cemetery had a new addition, a bronze statue of a German Shepherd, standing at attention, ears forward, eyes alert. The plaque beneath it read, in honor of K-9 Titan, partner of Master Chief Tom Carter, 53 combat deployments, 3 Purple Hearts who served his country with courage and his family with love. 2012 to 2024. Lily stood in front of the statue, 15 years old now, taller, stronger, changed by everything she'd been through. Beside her, a young German Shepherd puppy sat at attention. Ghost, Titan's son, bred specifically for her by the Navy's K-9 program. A gift in recognition of everything she'd done. He would have liked this, she said quietly. Doc stood beside her, gray now but still straight-backed. Still the man who'd helped her through the darkest days. They both would have. I miss him. Titan, I mean, even more than I expected to. He was a good dog, the best I ever worked with. He was my partner. Lily's voice cracked. I know that sounds strange, but that's what he was through everything. The auction, the trials, the years after. He was always there, always watching, always protecting. That's what good partners do. Yeah, she wiped her eyes. Yeah, it is. Ghost pressed against her leg. The puppy was learning, growing, becoming the dog his father had been. You're going to take good care of him, aren't you? Lily looked down at the puppy, at the future stretching out before them. I'm going to try. She placed her hand on Titan's statue, cold bronze, but she could almost feel the warmth of his fur beneath her fingers, the strength of his presence, the loyalty that had never wavered. Thank you, boy, she whispered. Thank you for everything. Then she turned and walked away. Behind her, the statue stood silent guard over the memories of those who'd served and sacrificed. A permanent reminder that some bonds don't break, some loyalty never dies, some truth once spoken can never be silenced again. And somewhere in the wind that swept across Arlington that day, carrying the echoes of 1,000 stories, a father and his dog watched over the girl they'd loved, proud of who she'd become, at peace with how their story had ended. Because some things are worth fighting for, some truths are worth dying for, and some legacies are worth living for. The girl who'd walked into an auction to save a dog had become a woman who changed the world, and she was just getting started. If this story moved you, share it with someone who needs courage today. Leave a comment about where you're watching from and what this story reminded you of. Subscribe for more stories of faith, justice, and quiet strength. May God bless those who serve. May He comfort those who have lost. And may He guide us all to be brave enough to stand up for what's right, even when we're standing alone. Because courage isn't about size or age or rank. It's about knowing what matters and refusing to walk away. The truest measure of character isn't what we do when everyone's watching. It's what we do when a little girl walks into a room full of warriors and asks us to choose between what's easy and what's right. Choose right, every single time. That's what heroes do. And that's what Lily Carter, daughter of a Navy SEAL, partner to a legendary dog, voice for the voiceless, will always be a hero.